All right, well, welcome back. This is the second video, actually part two. The original video was just showing how to make a traditional bagel, lox, and cream cheese that most people, especially Jewish people, enjoy eating, usually on a Sunday morning for breakfast or brunch time. Now I'm going to start preparing for the creative dish that I plan on making, which is going to be actually a pasta dish. I'm going to use bow tie pasta, which is a Jewish type of pasta usually used in a dish that's called kasha varnishkas. But I'm going to use this pasta because it's a pasta that's used with Jewish cooking. I'm going to be prepping. I'm going to be dicing onion, dicing chives. I got some fresh dill here, which is going to go on the bagels, which the bagels are going to be used for a garlic, buttery dill type of bagel that's going to go with the pasta dish. Kind of like how Italians make garlic bread. Well, I'm making Jewish garlic bread, so to speak. Still going to use the capers, the fresh tomatoes. Like I said, I'm still incorporating the bagels, the green onions. Just going to be adding some garlic to the repertoire, and other than that, the pasta. And I'm gonna come up with a dish here that is going to hopefully be very exciting and fun for everyone to do for their families, maybe on a Shabbat evening or just for dinner. It's something that I think is amazing twist on such a delicious dish. So let's get started. I want to teach everybody also a little bit about cooking and basic cooking skills. For instance, I'm going to be dicing this onion. I want to show everyone the proper way to dice an onion, the way I was taught when I went to the Culinary Institute of America. So the first thing you do is you slice both ends off the onion and discard, of course. Take off the outer layer. I usually slice down one side of the onion and peel back until I can get a beautiful, fresh, onion. I try to get rid of all the nasty skin that's on the outside of an onion. So now that you have an onion with the top and bottom cut off, place it down on the cutting board and cut the onion directly in half. The one side of the onion is going to have the core. If you notice, you want to cut that out with just a simple, I guess you could call it like I don't know, just a little triangle cut to take out the core at the bottom of the onion. That doesn't taste good and it doesn't look good. So now that you have two halves properly cored, you pray that your eyes are going to hold up here, because this is where it gets a little teary. But you take the onion, you place it down, take your knife, sharp knife, and you slice down into the onion this way. Now you slice almost all the way to the end, but not completely. So you cut almost to the end, but what you're doing is you're leaving this part still attached to hold the onion together, but you're doing straight down cuts down into the onion to your desired size that you want diced. So you want like pretty small here. For the dish that I'm going to be preparing here, everything that I'm going to be prepping for, the onions, capers, tomatoes, the chives, the green onions, it's all, half of it is going to be used in the sauce, and the other half will be used for garnish, decoration, and presentation when the final dish is being put together. So first you do the slices down. Now you come and you do slices that would be directly parallel to the cutting board. Also not going all the way through the onion, just to the very end. So now you're slicing it, you're cutting through to the onion, but you're not going all the way through. And now, once you have this, all you have to do to get a beautiful dice on the entire onion is to come down all the way and cut all the way down through the onion from the end. And now you have a perfect diced onion, all uniform for the most part. I mean, nothing's perfect, but for the most part, this is going to give you a uniformed, perfectly diced onion. And you could do this with obviously any type of onion. So that's how you dice an onion. I'm going to continue on and dice the tomatoes. I'm going to dice slice the green onions. I'm going to mince some garlic. As I'm doing these things, we'll take short clips of everything. And then once it's all prepared, then we're going to make the delicious sauce that I've come up with the cream cheese. And another item that we're going to be using is whipping cream. So we're gonna mix the cream cheese and the whipping cream along with the salmon, along with the tomatoes, the onions, the capers, and it's just gonna be a wonderful, balanced, flavored sauce with a cream cheese, with a really nice cream cheese velvety texture and a delicious salmon flavor. And then we're gonna mix it with the perfectly cooked bow tie pasta, and we're just gonna make an amazing dish here. So, and then we're also gonna be doing an amazing Jewish twist on garlic bread with the fresh dill. So, let's get going. And I'm gonna continue prepping here. Okay, guys, I'm just slicing up some of these green onions. I just finished dicing some things here. I finished the red onion here, and I got some chives that I've finely diced. But now I'm gonna do the green onions. What I'm gonna do with the bottom part of the green onion is this is where a lot of the flavor of the onion is. I'm gonna put that in the sauce. The greens that are more towards the top of the green onion, I'm gonna keep that for more of a garnish for the top of the dish to give it a beautiful presentation. So I'm just gonna slice these up, as thin as I can get them. And we'll just throw that into the sauce to add some more onion flavor to the cream cheese sauce. So, and this is the, like I said, this is the tops. And these I'll mainly use for the garnish and the presentation at the end. But because of the dark green color. And there's still an onion flavor there, don't get me wrong. It's just not where the intensity of the onion is. The intensity is in the white part, the bottom. Try to get it as thin and as little slices, as skinny slices as you could possibly get. Nobody likes to bite into a big chunk of anything. You want all the flavors to just melt together. Okay. So that'll be mainly, that's for the garnish, and this is for the tops, and this is the bottom. This will go into the sauce, and this will be for the garnish at the end. Gotta have your side towel, whatever you're cooking. Gotta clean your cutting board. Never want to work on a dirty cutting board. Never want the flavors. You always want to keep your cutting board clean at all times. The next thing I think I'm gonna do is I got some fresh dill here. I'm just gonna chop this up. This is gonna go on the bagels. Dill is just a flavor that I love personally. I use it in a lot of different things, chicken soup. But for right now, I just wanna kinda pick it I'm just gonna pick the dill off the stems and chop it up a little bit, put it off to the side, and I'll use that for my garlic butter that I'm gonna use for the bagels. Dill smells amazing. I love the smell. It is so fresh and just brings me back to my childhood. And I really love to use it when I make Jewish penicillin, which is AKA chicken soup, matzo ball chicken soup. But I like to call it Jewish penicillin. Beautiful, beautiful dill. Around here where I live, you can't really buy it in big bundles unless you go to the farmer's market. So in the supermarket, you gotta buy it in these little plastic containers, and you don't get as much. I used to love buying big, huge bunches of fresh dill. So then I got this. I'm just gonna chop this up a little bit just to make it a little bit easier to spread into the butter and get the oils and the flavors that are inside of the dill to come out into the butter also. All right, that's good enough. Still want it to have that people know that it's dill. You don't want people to not know what it is, because that's part of the beauty of this dish. Is you want to be amazed at the fact that you're like eating the same thing that would be on a lox and bagel and cream cheese, the same type of flavors, but yet experiencing something totally new and fun and exciting. All right, welcome back. All right, we're gonna start putting everything together here. I prepped some things up here. I got some diced tomatoes, the dill, chives, red onion. I got the green onion separated between the bottoms and the tops. I got all the salmon nicely julienned right here, thinly sliced. Got some butter. This is gonna be for the garlic bread. Okay, so the first thing I wanna do is make the butter for the garlic bread. So we're gonna take the butter here. I'm gonna throw the dill into it. I'm gonna throw the garlic that I minced into it. And we're gonna melt that in the microwave. Let it all come together. Right here I have some water going. It's salted water for the pasta. There's no need to ever put oil in water when you're cooking pasta. The only time you'd want to add oil to pasta is after you strain the water off so it doesn't stick. Adding oil to the water does absolutely nothing because the water keeps the pasta from sticking. It doesn't need oil until the water is removed. So right now that's just continuing to get up to a boil. It's just about there. Okay, well, the butter, the dill, and the garlic is all melted together here. That's gonna go on top of the bagels. The bagels that I have your everything bagel. And just for a little twist, I personally, some people might not think this is a good combination, but I have some cinnamon raisin bagels to make with the garlic butter and dill. I like the sweetness combining and going with the saltiness of the fish. Just kind of mixing all that together, letting all the flavors kind of come together with the dill and the garlic. I think I'm going to add a little kosher salt to that. It is salted butter, so I don't want to go too crazy. Just a little bit. beautiful fresh green dill color. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna, very generously, because I love garlic bread, I love butter, garlic. I'm gonna smear. Here's the butter. Try to evenly move this into the bagel so it soaks up really nicely into the bagel. Right now I'm just kind of taking the butter part of it, and then I'll throw the garlic on after I get all the butter kind of soaked in good. And I'll put these under the broiler. Get them nice and brown. And here's all the goodies, the garlic, fresh garlic and dill. Like I said, try to, you turn it off. The butters, all the garlic dill butter has been applied to the bagels very generously, and now I'm going to throw these into the broiler, get them nice and golden brown while I move on to the next thing, which is, now that I have this water boiling nice and hot, rolling, we're going to dump two boxes of the bow tie pasta in there. Another thing, whenever you're cooking pasta, you always want to keep it stirring so it doesn't stick together, and as it's cooking, you don't want it to clump together. Always keep a good stir while the pasta's going. The pasta's going. Okay, we got the pasta going, we're keeping it stirred. We got the garlic bagels with the fresh dill in the oven. Now we're gonna start making the sauce. So heat on. All right. We're gonna add a little bit of olive oil here, so we can start sauteing the onions, which is the first step of the sauce. Like I said, with the onions and the salmon and the tomatoes and the capers, I'm gonna only use about half of what I've prepared, and the other half will be used for the garnish. Maybe even, I might use a little more in the sauce than half. But right now, the first thing you want to do is get the oil nice and hot. So that might take a minute or two. So now we got the oil, it's smoking. That's where you want oil to be when you start going to be, sweating onions or sauteing. You're going to hear a nice sizzle. Well, so that's about the amount I want to use. Go with the green, the bottoms of the green onion for flavor into the sauce. Capers we'll use the rest for garnish. Okay, so right now we're just gonna let this sweat until the onions are cooked and translucent. All right, the garlic bagels are finished. They look absolutely amazingly browned. The dill is just, they're beautiful. I can't wait to taste those. Put those off in the back. The pasta's done cooking. We're gonna dump that out and then cover it with a nice little coat of oil so the noodles don't stick together. All right. Just gonna throw a little bit of oil just to coat the noodles a little bit, just so they don't stick together. This is the time where you would add oil to pasta, and the only time. Never in the water. Makes no sense whatsoever. Okay. All right, now back to the sauce. The onions and the capers, everything is sweated down beautifully. I'm gonna add the fresh tomatoes. Like I said, I'm gonna leave about a third for the garnish. I'm gonna add the salmon, also leaving a third for the garnish. Now this salmon, I don't want to overly cook it because it's a delicacy and it has a certain texture that I don't want to ruin. But I do want to get the flavor of the salmon out into the mixture. So when I add the heavy cream, which is the next ingredient, the flavors will all melt together. So we got the wonderful smoky flavor of the salmon and the capers and the onions and the tomatoes, which I'm keeping kind of in a fresh state. I don't want the tomatoes, because I want to still incorporate the quality and the dynamics of what a lox bagel and cream cheese sandwich is in this dish. And I think that tomato shouldn't be overly cooked in the sauce. So now I'm going to add some heavy cream here. And the cream cheese, which I have about 2 packages worth. I used a little bit for the original sandwich I made. And now we're just gonna let this all come together, melt down, let all the flavors come together and blend beautifully. It won't take long. Okay, the sauce is finished. It's got a beautiful light pink color to it. All those flavors are nicely combined in there. Now I'm gonna take this sauce and I'm gonna pour it over this perfectly cooked pasta in this mixing bowl. You just smell all those amazing flavors, especially the capers. Now we'll just give this a good mix, get all those, everything mixed in nicely, the salmon, the fresh tomatoes, the capers, onions. Look at that. Now, this is the finishing bowl. The sauce is covering the pasta so perfectly. Okay. Now we'll hit it. Let's see, we'll start with some tomatoes. Freshly, kind of cool tomatoes. I like the fact that these aren't cooked. It just adds a little bit more character to the dish. Some raw onion, some of the leftover raw onion. some of the green onion. The chives. Gotta love your onion. Capers. And now the remainder of the salmon.
I think he wants to go out.
And voila, we now have an amazing twist on bagels, lox, and cream cheese. But no, we're not finished yet. Almost forgot about the garlic dill bagels. We could actually even serve it like so. And there's my twist on lox, bagels, and cream cheese. It's a pasta dish that I think everyone can put together and enjoy and surprise their families with and have an amazing meal.